that?
You're getting pumped up for us. I love it.
I like seeing you. I'm happy
I know,
always
I'm
happy to see you.
excited to be
This is
here.
Lisa Mitchell, communications expert and founder of Power Body Language. Okay, if you don't, not aware of this, there is a little video that went viral over the course of the last few days of someone who reclined in an airline, in an airliner, and the person behind them is sort of passive-aggressively punching the back of the seat.
Oh, there's no passive. No, it's straight up.
I'm not giving her the benefit of the doubt.
I know,
So
and there's always more to the story than we know.
Exactly.
Right?
That led, so I tried to work backwards. I go, well, she's maybe a little rude for reclining, but certainly doesn't deserve any of that. Anyway, people have 1,000 reasons why they don't want to fly, but they have 1,001 why they need to get somewhere. So walk us through some of the things that we can do to remind ourselves, and maybe even remind somebody sitting near us, how to conduct ourselves.
Well, I fly a lot, and I was joking in the green room about my rage grows a little bit every time I get on an airplane, right? It's just travel fatigue, I think, sets in, and it's really hard to remember kind of the first rule, which is just to be nice. And it's such a novel concept, right? But I'll tell you, when you are running late or something's delayed or you're just not having the best day anyways, and then you put it in the context of an airport with security and waiting, and then you put it in the context of herding people into a metal can for extended periods of time, it all just escalates, right? So it's really easy if you aren't intentional about just being kind and showing up kind of as your kindest human form. It's real easy to not be that, right? And then that's kind of a contagious suck that everyone starts vibing on, and before you know it, the whole plane is in a bad mood, and it's your fault.
I just like the fact that you quoted Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse by saying, be nice. I mean, it's the first rule of bouncing, too. Be nice.
I mean, it serves a lot of purposes.
But it is. We have to step outside of your situation and realize that there are a couple hundred other people maybe having a similar day, and maybe you kind of unite. We're all in this steel tube together.
Exactly. You don't have the benefit of being selfish when it comes to kind of traveling in mass, and a lot of people kind of still stay in their what's best for me bubble instead of what's best for this group or this environment bubble. And just a little shifting of your mindset of how can I make this better instead of how can I endure the worst can help point you in the right direction, kind of just from a mental standpoint and intention, and then that shows up in your behavior too.
I'm a nervous flyer, and not just because there's a steel tube in here, but it's from I triple check the gate and gate times, and I don't go too far from my gate in case something changes, and those are things I can control. But once you get on the whole plane, there are things you have to realize there's only so much you could do. You're relinquishing control to a degree. That's sort of the agreement.
Exactly.
The transaction.
But the part that makes it as successful as it can be is to control your controllables. And by that I mean, if you know that you're someone who gets anxious if you don't have a lot of time between your flights or your connections, book a flight that gives you that extra padding just so it brings you down internally a little bit. If you're somebody who knows that you need to look out a window because maybe you get motion sickness, right? Pay the extra to book the window. Or if you're somebody who needs a little extra room, right? Pretty much every airline offers you the option, and it sucks to have to pay extra, but how much is your comfort worth? Right.
My wife takes 100 flights a year, and she says she never regrets that money when she doesn't get the seat she wants, the upgrade.
Exactly.
It's the best money she ever spends.
Exactly. So control what you can up front. That puts you in a better state of mind, creates a better experience for you and for anybody else who might come in contact with you.
Now, the flight attendant is going to treat you the same whether you're in first class or Corral E in the back. But, again, some of those creature comforts aren't going to be there. You can't be frustrated that you didn't do that in the first place, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just control what you can control. And to your point, there's not a lot once you're kind of in the air that you really can control.
Right.
So do as much as you can pre-flight to make sure that you're positioning yourself for success.
And so what should we keep in mind if we want to communicate something that we think should not be happening?
Absolutely. And the rule
Which is a different scale for everybody.
The rule here is to just be respectful, right? And this, again, is self-awareness is a beautiful thing, and you can't count on anyone else being self-aware, but you can control how you show up. So if you do have an objection, a complaint, a request, check what type of body language are you using to convey that? What's your vocal tone, right? How are you approaching someone in a respectful way when you're making a request, or are you creating a hostile situation that could escalate? Because if something escalates in close quarters, there's not a lot of recourse there.
Exactly. Well, Scott Sander was talking to Daybreak about a guy who did the foot between the seats sort of thing.
Yeah.
And how he didn't, you just dealt with it. And I thought, I don't know, maybe turn around and go, hey, I got 2 drink tickets for you if you put that foot back down.
Right. Be a good
Something,
neighbor.
yeah.
Be respectful. It's hard when tensions are high, but just, you can't count on anyone else doing the right thing. So take ownership of it and try to make the experience as pleasant and safe for you as well as the other passengers.
She's right. And she quotes Patrick Swayze. What's not to love about her? Yeah.
Be nice.
PowerBodyLanguage.com. We'll put the link on IndyStyle.tv. Great advice as always. Thanks. Amber?